Hey, how's it going guys? It's Matty Bibbinator here and welcome to this video. So in this video I'm going to be discussing the tank build that I use on Clown. It works really well. I've been trying lots of different builds, lots of different perks for Clown to try and make him viable in the past. He's known to be one of the weakest, if not the weakest killer in Dead by Daylight. However, since discovering this and coming upon this through trial and error, I disagree with those claims completely. Now, before we get into it properly, I'm going to do a whole take with my voice, so it's going to be a little bit skitty scatty. It's not going to sound spick and spam, but we'll get to the point with what I'm going to say anyway. So the build consists of save the best for last, fire up, agitation and brutal strength. Now I know what you're probably already thinking, that any build with fire up does not sound legitimate. I'll tell you, usually fire up is a useless perk. What it does basically is that each time a generator gets completed, you get a 4% stackable bonus to picking up, dropping survivors, breaking pallets, breaking gens and vaulting, which usually sounds pretty useless in a build because you don't want a perk that helps you when gens are getting completed. You know, you'd go for perks to stop the gens getting finished. Well, we're going to get into a little bit more detail about the build and the playstyle. Let's just start with the playstyle first. When I've seen most streamers and most people play Clown, I only see them do 1v1 chases. I don't see many streamers juggle with Clown where you're going for different survivors, and I always see potions only being used for anti-loops, even though it's strong for loops and catching survivors at pallets. It's really good to get information when you're throwing them across the map, especially at the beginning of a trial, to get information, because that's one thing that survivors don't use, and that's his power and the potions and the gas to get information. So you'll generally see that through the matches that I've been playing, I'll throw those potions everywhere just to get information on where survivors are, so that I'm able to juggle them. So basically, save the best for last. I'm going to be juggling survivors, I'm going to be trying to get information, so I'm going to build those stacks up early. Usually people say save the best for last isn't very good on Clown because of the 1v1, but I'm not going for 1v1. I want to get stacks from all the survivors to make it viable. The second perk, Fire Up, by itself it's a bit useless, but when you synergize it with Brutal Strength and Agitation, it's really strong. It can be a bit of an anti-bullying perk used in that way when it's synergized, because it's going to increase breaking pallets very quickly. So generally when you're against the most optimal survivors and the highest ranked survivors, they're calculating the amount of distance they can get from your brutal strength alone to reach another pallet or somewhere safe. When that's stacking up with Fire Up, that can knock off a lot of survivors' timing, so you're able to close distance really quickly. And also with Fire Up, synergized with Agitation, you're going to get a lot of good survivors that are going to get downed under pallets. You can use your potions to act as a kind of infectious fright by putting potions across the area, and then when you're picking up a survivor when you've already got a couple of stacks of Fire Up, and with Agitation that increases your movement speed by 18%, it's going to be very unlikely that you're going to get pallet stuns, but it's also going to make it really difficult for survivors to get flashlight saves if your animation is changing. And you'll notice throughout my stream, out of the 12 matches that I played, I only got flash blinded once, and that was, I believe, 2 survivors using a flashlight. So it works. It really does work for that reason. But also with Save the Best for Last, with Fire Up, with Agitation and with Brutal Strength, when you start a trial, it's not going to work at the beginning of a trial. You've got to build those stacks up throughout the trial. So when gens start popping, I'm not going to feel as much pressure, because I know that I'm going to end up becoming more and more aggressive throughout the trial. And with this build, when you've got full stacks to Save the Best for Last, and once you've got 2-3 gens that have popped your Fire Up stacks, you're going to be able to punish a team that are going to be over altruistic, because when survivors see that a couple of gens are popping and there's only a couple of hooks, maybe they start thinking, right, I can be a little bit more altruistic and get a few hooks and gather around and try and body block. Well, that's when the build ends up being its most optimal, because you can down everyone very quickly, and it's happened in a couple of the matches that I've been playing on my stream last night, which you'll be able to see through my other video. or you can go onto my Twitch and the whole stream live is there. So yeah, it's a brilliant build. So as far as the statistics go, I decided to do a spreadsheet showing the amount of hooks, the amount of kills, the amount of gens that have been completed, the amount of points that I've been getting. And the reason I've done it this way is because a lot of different players seem to have a different idea of what a win is. Is a win the amount of people that you kill? Is a win the amount of points that you get? Or is your win based on the result that you have, whether it's brutal killer, ruthless or merciless? Well, I've decided to take all of these different factors into one whole summary of him, and the results are as show. I've also averaged out all of the results for each section, and you can see that it's actually averaged out really well. And this is over 12 matches. I had one poor match where I got a displeased entity out of 12 of them. That was a pretty difficult map. I mean, I was on, I believe it was Mother's Dwelling, yeah. On Mother's Dwelling I was on that map twice, and I seemed to have a hard time on that map. I'm not sure why. Maybe it was the survivors stronger than the other survivors in the other games that I played, but I suspect that map might be a lot more difficult for Killer. But anyhow, you can follow my stream on Twitch each night. Feel free to look at the YouTube video as well. I'm open to debate. I'm open to people giving a suggestion on a build that may be stronger than my build for Clown. However, I'd like to see it in action, not just in theory. So if anyone believes that they have a build that's stronger for Clown, please show me. I'll be really interested to see it. Anyhow, thank you for the people that have been following me up to now. I've only been streaming for the past week, so it's really good to see some familiar faces coming onto my streams. It's really sweet. Anyhow, I'll leave it there. Thank you, and see you next time. Bye.